System overall is in great cosmetic condition. Looking at the back of our system, we do have the obvious, which is going to be that HDMI port there. I can see a little bit of separation there in the bottom. I can also see a good sized gap is forming here on the bottom as well. Alright, Regina, taking a look at your PlayStation 5 here underneath the microscope. This is Frankie Montoya speaking. Just kind of testing real quick to see if any of these pins back here are loose. Any clear indicators that, oh, there we go. There's a loose one there for sure, and that's honestly enough for me to say that we're gonna need to replace this HDMI port. Full port removed. Area on the back looks healthy. I know that we have some discoloration there. That's all cosmetic. It's just from the flux reacting with the top layer. So yeah, what that little guy there was, I'll show you here. There's two of them. One of them floated away when I cleaned. But they're actually broken pins from the HDMI port. I was able to lift it off easily, as you were probably able to see. Okay, so we look perfectly healthy underneath here. Got this all cleaned up. The pad is still intact. We did have a decent amount of damage. It looks like all that damage was just broken off parts from your HDMI port. Here's that replaced HDMI port, and that looks every bit as good as a factory HDMI port. It looks fantastic. Looking at our solder fillets from the side, those look just like the ones next to them down here. We've got a good, nice swell rising from the base of our motherboard and rising up to the side of that port. Gonna take a quick look underneath the HDMI port here. Just want to make sure that each and every one of these pins is rigidly soldered. So I'm gonna gently push against each and every one of them. Make sure nothing here is loose. Well, that looks fantastic, but you're not gonna be able to see what I'm doing, but I'm going to touch the pad back here, and I'm looking for throughput through the HDMI port. So when we hear a beep here in the background, like that, that's telling me that we're able to get a good connection from our motherboard and able to send a signal. I'm not touching the pin, I'm touching the actual motherboard part right here, and that's telling me that we're able to send a signal through the port. So pin 2 to pin 2, pin 3 to pin 3, using a breakout board on the HDMI port, 4 to 4, 5 5. I touch this side of the cap, 17 17. This side, 18 18, 19 19 up here. Harder to reach that one, and that all looks good. So I'll come down here and I'm going to test the opposite now. I just want to make sure that there's no short circuits underneath any of our pins, and to do that I'm looking to make sure that there's no beep between any of these two sections, between 2 and 3, 3 to 4, 4 5, 5 6, 6 7, 8 9, 10, 10 11, 11 12, 12 13, 13 14, 14 15, 15 16, 16 17, 17 18, 18 19, and that's going to be a good HDMI port.
Here's your fan. So we're a little bit deeper in the console now. As you can see, there's a lot of thermal paste left around, and there's a lot of residue just sitting on the components. This is just what happens. So we're going to clean it up, and then when we put it back together, we're going to put better thermal paste on there. Alright, so we're taking a look at your liquid metal here. A lot of it is missing. As you can see, there's a lot of parts without full coverage, and then there's also, on this side, there's also a lot of oxidization. So we're gonna get this whole area cleaned up and remove the oxidization and the leftover liquid metal. All right, we're just cleaning up the oxidization, make sure it's all clean. All right, we got all the thermal padding cleaned up. The system's all ready to go for, all right, there's the new liquid metal. There's the new thermal padding. There's the next layer of thermal paste. Fan going in.